think they said something about it seemed funny that they would have one until they got the thing in LSUV. Some of that's good. Breakfast.
That's all I'm saying. Yes, sir. Double trouble here. Yeah, that's the
We have that radio tower coming back to us, and this is just so that we sent to this morning. Y'all got a copy of the letter that the attorney sent? Yes. Okay, this is kind of in response to that. I don't think it's that germane, it's just, yeah. We have the tower, radio tower coming in this evening, and this is just a letter to Tom Rubin in response to the letter the tower gave us. So, I see the role. It made reference to his locations or goals,
Mr. William doing re-subdividing. Mr. Lowell will explain.
All right.
All right, Public Works Committee, Mr. Creed.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to call to order the Public Works Committee. Vernon Martin is the only one absent. Everyone else is still present. First up, we'll hear from the Public Works Director, Mr. Albert John.
He could not make it. Him or Mr. Gilbert could not make it today.
Okay. I did have a question for Mr. Gilbert, but I guess you.
I can try
Is that,
if you want to.
well, the street signs, I know there was an article in the paper, we're just wondering where we're at on that, I guess. We're still working on street signs.
Street signs have been ordered. It took a few weeks to get them. And I think the completed order will be here in 2 weeks, which was already ordered in the previous budget. And I think that will complete all of the street signs in Crowley. And as soon as we catch up on all of the rain issues, we continue to get them put up.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next up, we'll hear, anybody else have any questions regarding public works or streets? Mrs. Stringall.
Thank you, Chair. I do have a question. I'm not sure who would answer it, if it would be Mr. Mayor or the Mayor. Mayor, do you know what's going on Hugh Hall Street?
Not right at the moment. I'm not sure what you're referring to.
You had, Mr. Crater, you had gone over there for me, and I think they're still working on that. if it's maybe for the cable or,
I think that was Central Energy
Yeah.
that I saw out there that was doing some work on the gas lines.
They are, they're still going around Crowley trying to catch up.
oh, so that's for the smoke test and all that? and-
No,
That's
that's
gas
Central
lines.
So
Energy.
it's, okay,
Central Energy is the gas company, that's a contractor that's doing it for Central Energy.
so they're doing something completely, okay, separate. All right, thank you.
State your name and
Presumes. I guess this would be, you talking about cutting the roads right there. What is the procedure to get a road cut? Tim or Tim?
Well, Mr. Mayor, you probably answer it better than me, but
I've spoken to him before.
the companies, those people who provide us services, can cut it.
Right,
But there
so
is-
that's through code enforcement, they gotta get a permit?
Well, yes and no, I'm not contradicting myself, but they do have the authorization to be able to do that. And, but there is an ordinance in place where they have to, I guess, in the new condition that it's going to be, I'm not gonna say they have to put it back just like it is now, because that may be an older road, but they have to put it like the conditions that it will be.
So I was understanding that if they cut the road, they got to cement it, and then come back with asphalt on top.
Tim, is that correct, what he's saying? I know there is a base, and I know there's a certain formula that we have in the ordinance that they're supposed to do it in.
My mic doesn't work, so.
Okay, speak loud.
There is an ordinance, the details are very clear in that ordinance, and I would say look at the ordinance, if you
Okay.
want to know whether that's.
Okay, so, and I talked to Tony about it also. So, there is an ordinance, and it's certain procedures, so who's the one in charge of making sure the work is done properly?
They are.
Well, no, who's the inspection, who does the inspection, to make sure they cement and put the asphalt correctly on top?
It could be anywhere from our code enforcement to our engineers.
Why no? Code enforcement, that was the thing, passing it back and forth between the responsibilities there. Now we're just trying to get a definite answer, who's responsible for inspections, because my question is, Northern's been paved, and there's a cut in the road in the new asphalt, and it's quite obvious, it's just gravel put in, and very poor type of asphalt put on top. There's a couple places on there about that the other day, so that's kind of what this question is being asked. And so,
Do you have the specific location?
northern and western,
Northern and western?
and northern and up our,
Northern and west?
up our part.
Okay. All right, thank you.
I think we have some technical difficulties getting on that.
It's more.
I just texted him.
You did? I had talked to him last week.
Mr. State your name and
What's Mr. Safety name? Is it on? Question for you is that there's such a festival coming up right now. And I talked to Mr. Nader about this earlier in the week, or last week, I guess it was. The scheduling for the Levy Park area. The handicap ramp is dependent on the paving going on. And I'm wondering if there's ever been a schedule, or if the contractor has told you about what his plans are. We're hoping to get that handicap ramp, get obviously, we runs that festival over there.
I'll check with the contractor and see what his expectations are for the.
Okay.
so I can tell you this much, I heard, is that the reason that nobody's doing very much paving now is because of the gravel shortage. Even DOTD is not able to do projects that they want to do because there's a gravel shortage, so I don't know when that's going to be alleviated and when that will start back up, but but, that was my understanding that they're.
I think the mayor told me that they have that straightened out. Not recognizing.
Oh, I don't know what they're doing.
Oh, I thought.
No, I said, I hope they straighten it out soon, or we're gonna have a lot of contractual problems. But I don't know the current situation of gravel supply.
Okay. Thank you.
So it may not be done yet for a while. Any other questions concerning public works or streets? One more. State your name, please.
Christopher George, I just wanted to know, when will they complete West Hutchinson in the middle part? By the drain, you know, in the middle.
Talking about cross sections.
Yeah.
Cross sections on West Hutchinson, they left the cross sections.
Intersections you're talking about? I can look into it, but I don't know.
Okay, the reason why I'm asking is because, it does slow deep down the speed bumps, but it's been paid for a while now, and I'm just wondering when it was gonna complete. Because I see they finished, in front of Capitol Road today, and I was just wondering when it was gonna complete, but such.
Yeah, don't have an answer, but I can get an answer.
Okay, I'll call you Friday?
Sure.
Okay,
You have a number?
yes.
Any other questions? Then we'll move on to the city engineer, Mr. Tim Maker's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First item of action is going to be on page 4 of my written report. If you can all turn your attention to item E, contract A. I have partial payment estimate number 9. As of August 25th, this is the Glen Leger contract, contract A. Contract was 68% complete by time, 34% complete by cost, and that partial payment estimates that the total value of work done through August 25th is $2,415,677.35. $120,783.87 is being withheld for retainage, and so the total amount due that I would like you to take action on is $114,583.20.
I'll make the motion as read. Seconded by Mr. Wilbur. Discussion? Mr. Core.
Mr. Do we have a breakdown of the work that was actually done to reflect the estimate? I know we have the amounts, but as far as which streets were paved, whether the lining was, milling occurred, any kind of a summary of what the work was done that was filled in this amount?
I have a partial payment estimate.
Right, but how is that estimate arrived at? Total, I know you have a total, but
You'll see in the partial payment estimate, every pay item is quantified every month and it's extended out to a column that's total and then you get to the total.
where is that? Is it something that we previously provided?
No, I've never provided that to council.
Right.
I can,
Can we-
I've never been asked before.
Right, that's what I was asking if.
I can do that. I can
Okay.
send it to you.
That'd be great.
Yeah, thanks.
Mr. Cabell?
Mr. Mayor, have you been in contact, or have they been in contact with you potentially for extending the rain delays?
No, we usually get into that mode of trying to figure out how to extend time, do it rather closer to the end of the contract, which is January 26th.
Yeah.
Mr. Stringfellow?
Thank you, Chairman. I'm not sure if Glen Leger or Southern Constructors did this work, but on Avenue G Bridge, where they had to redo that dip, do you remember, was that Glen Leger or was that Southern?
No, so,
Okay. We didn't pay for that, for them to redo what they had done?
not to redo that.
Okay. Okay, good.
Any other comments? Comments from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I was wondering why you haven't commented on the motion or not.
Because I'll show you the revised statute if you'd like to
The
see it.
dates,
If you'd like to see it,
I believe I've read.
okay, good. Then you do your meeting and I'll do mine, okay? Thank you. Mr. Baker, continue, please.
Similarly, contract B begins on page 4, and the action that I would like you to consider at the top of page 5. This is going to be, again, Glenn Leger Construction for contract B and partial payment number 4. As of August 25th, the contract was 43% complete by time, 44% complete by cost. Partial payment estimate number 4 has an estimated total value of work completed through that date as $4,348,352.29, $217,417.61 in withheld for labor and material needs. So I would ask you to consider approving partial payment estimate number 4 to Glenn Leger Construction for contract B in the amount of $93,819.08.
Motion is read.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Wilbur. Discussion? Any comments from the audience? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
That concludes the action items that I have for
All done? There be no further business come before the Public Works Committee, then the committee recess.
Thank you. Next is Utility Committee, Mr. Martin C. Glenn. You're gonna have to read. She want, and what does she want to speak about? Yes, ma'am, you made, what is it you want to speak about?
Well, it was about the roads, but
Okay.
it has been passed, so.
Yes, ma'am, hang on 1 second, we'll allow Mr. Critter to reopen.
I'll
this.
make a motion to reopen the Public Works Committee.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Core. All in favor? Opposed? Please state your name and ask your question.
Patricia Petrie. I need to know, when they started working on the roads here in this parish, I was told that my driveway would be restored. When I waited and I spoke to the commissioner, Mr. AJ, and he told me, he said, if I could prove that the mayor told you that, and you got my word also, that it would be restored. So I called the mayor's office and I spoke to his secretary because he wasn't in, and the secretary told him that she remembered and I was on the list for to get my driveway repaired. So he told her that he would be there in the morning to speak to the mayor, but I have not heard anything. So I called the mayor again, and he seemed to have forgotten what he said to me, and kind of disturbing. So I just need to know about that.
Okay, Mr. Petrie?
Yes, sir.
Remember, I had spoken to you a couple of times, and I had told you that Mr. AJ is with the road crew. He's the superintendent of the road crew, that they would be going over there, and I had told you that already, that they would be going there and putting you an apron, just like they're doing everybody else's that have gravel at their driveways.
No, sir, you did not.
Yes, ma'am, I did. I'm
No,
sorry.
sir, you did not. I don't want, I don't want to be disrespectful because I respect everyone, but.
Well, I had you on the speakerphone with my secretary, that's why.
No, sir, we did not. Give me the secretary of the meeting, but I'm really sorry that it turned out this way. I just hope that you could help
Yes,
me
ma'am.
word.
Absolutely.
Because the man who is there on it,
Yes.
that's where your challenge comes from. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes,
hold
ma'am.
on a second, hold on a second. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
all right. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
What's your address again?
1258 New Road Drive.
Blue Rose?
Yes.
Blue Rose.
Blue Rose, that's over by Mockingbird.
Okay. And so basically what you're saying is that your driveway need to be built?
It needs to be repaired.
Well, you and I spoke already.
Yes.
And I
but
just
the
want
mayor said that it would be restored.
restore
And
it.
he gave me his word on that.
Okay, so with that being said, Tim, would you be able to get with him?
Yes.
Okay, well, he's our engineer. He knows the ups and downs of everything. And Mr. Chair, if that's okay with you, I'd like to make a recommendation that Tim gets with her and see what's going on, because all due respect to the mayor, I'm pretty sure you don't know too much about how the roads are built down.
Oh, no, you're incorrect, but anyway.
Oh, you do, well, okay, well, apparently you told her you was gonna do something, you didn't do it.
No.
So, I guess, okay, we good.
And it's my phone as well.
All right.
Order. Any other business to come before the Public Works Committee? Public Works recess.
Thank you. Utility, Mr. Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How is everybody doing? I apologize for being late. Weather and coming from Rapids, coming through Evangeline and coming down here. It's unreal, but anyway, it is what it is. Chief, I was doing, not gonna lie to you, I was doing 105, but it was good. Okay.
Not my jurisdiction.
Okay. In case I really got caught, I was recording first. All right, we're gonna open up, let's see, Tim Grader's in the house. What's up there, son? Yeah, looking good, man, I like that beard, but I'm gonna grow one myself, you see. It's starting already. Go ahead.
So for the month of August, we've had 696 Louisiana One call locate requests. Of those, 417 of those were updated tickets, which is from other utility departments that either run short of time, need some extensions, things of that sort. We had 269 that were new locate requests, which are 2 days. We had 10 emergency locate requests filed. We had 23 work orders filed for the month of August. Currently, we got one employee, new hire that started today. The intern, we lost another. So we're still at 2 short. We are actively looking. We have attempted to hire 2 guys. They failed to pick up their paperwork at the city hall. Their drug screen. Once the drug screen is complete, they would pick up the physical paperwork. They failed to do that. So moving on. There's no one that can happen. We'll post it again on social media. Put the word out. They've taken applications at the Job Service Center, which is 11 North Parkinson, at the Enterprise Building at Louisiana Workforce. As they apply there, it gets to Julie. Julie forwards it to me. And we interview each one that comes to me. So other than that, that's really all I have.
Well, Tim, expand on what you just said. You hired one and lost one. Who did you lose? Well, no names. Just someone. What was that person's?
Making more money than what the city can pay.
Okay, we know that.
I can't knock that.
What I'm asking, the person that you lost, was that a road crew? Was it
No, it was a locator.
located? And once you identify what that is, so it might be somebody here listening that might know or wants a job with that.
We more than willing. I think what we'll do going forward, I'm not just going to hire a locator, and we'll concentrate on that because it is the legislature passed a law that everyone has to be notified.
Exactly, about the position.
With the marks. So we'll use that person for that, but they will be trained in other areas.
Okay.
To assist wherever they need.
Any questions for Tim?
Thank you.
All right, son. Have a good one. All right. Keep it on with Tim. You're on Tim. Mayor, it's your show.
Thank you, Steph. My one action item in the utility committee is page 17. That is the LCDBG fiscal year 2021 project. The action is described at the bottom of page 18. This is the contract with NCMC LLC for the rehabilitation of the sewage collection system. Partial payment estimate number 3 as of August 25th. Project is 21% complete by time, 6% complete by cost. Partial payment number 3 estimates the total value of work done through that date is $105,009.95, and the amount of $5,250.50 is withheld for retainage. Total amount due for that period of time is $17,053.62. And I would ask that you approve that partial payment estimate.
I'm offered as read. Second. It was offered by myself and seconded by Clint. Kim, you want to repeat those numbers again?
Sure. The total amount due is $17,053.62.
With that being said, all in favor, any discussion on it? Any discussion? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And that is all the action items that I have for the
Yeah, I noticed Tim be killing trees. That's all right. Okay. I got you, man.
stuff
I got
on
you.
top of that.
It's all good. Somebody got to fill the landfill. All right. Next action item to approve partial payment estimate number 3. We just done that, correct?
Yes.
All right. Anything else to come before utilities? We reset. Yes, I'm wearing glasses, y'all. I can't see nothing right now.
Thank you. Next is recreation, Mr. Primo.
Thank you. Recreation, I will open recreation. First, we'll have the director's report.
Good afternoon. Our soccer and flag football registration has come to a close. The coaches will draft their teams tonight. We saw participation go up in soccer by 27% this year, which is 43 kids more than we had last year. Our flag football program grew by 56%, which is 37 kids more than we had last year. So we're seeing some growth. Soccer again will be played in Bicentennial Park this year, and flag football will be played on the Notre Dame practice field again this year. So far this month, we've hosted 2 tournaments in September, and we will start our high school baseball fall season this Sunday. This league will bring kids from Lafayette and the Lake Charles area and surrounding areas for the next 6 to 8 Sundays. So far, we have every weekend in October booked, except for Rice Festival weekend, and every weekend in November booked, except for Thanksgiving weekend and the first 2 weekends in December. Our roller skating program is continuing at Martin Luther King Center. We will go again this Friday, 6 p.m. to 8. Again, that is a free event. We'd like to see the young kids and the older kids. It seems to be enjoyed. We're averaging about 75 to 80 kids every other Friday. So it's been a really good, positive thing for the kids. Lots of smiles. Any questions?
Mr. Martin.
Look, first of all, we want to thank, on behalf of Homeland Civic and Social Club, I want to thank not only Peter, but the council for allowing it to happen. It was a success. The weather is something that we can't change or we can't do, because the bottom line is when it's dry out there, the farmers are hurting, and when it's wet out there, we're hurting. So it is what it is. But Peter, one thing that there was only one downside to everything, and that's that ice machine. I don't think you know the ice machine is over 15 years old. I'm thinking 10 to 15 years old. And finding parts for it, I know you're trying your best, but look, it's time to liquidate, just get rid of that thing and put another one there. Because that was the only problem. People were spending more money than leaving. They had to leave to go get ice. And I knew at one time when I had given a function out there, you know, I bought this big old Coca-Cola thing with ice, but apparently it didn't make it over there. But that was the only downside. And the other thing that really needs to look upon, besides the bathroom, which we'll talk about that when we get to public buildings, but if you go out there now, you can't cut the grass. While the rain was there, you couldn't walk. You know, from the parking lot, the paved parking lot to the pavilion, it was total disaster. What I'm asking you to do is, whether it's 1 or 2 walkways, I don't know if you make it wide enough for 2 people or whatever it may be, maybe a 5-foot walkway from the parking lot to the pavilion. Okay, what that's going to do is 2 things. First of all, it's going to keep traffic. Hopefully nobody decides to drive on it. That's one thing right there. But you know what we're saying, well, it's wide enough for my vehicle because I'm going to back it up to it, whatever. But if you can do that, you put some type of safeguard to keep the traffic off of that would be fantastic. Other than that, you know, as far as the kids skating, I had the pleasure of feeding the kids a while back, so I told Mr. Wheeler that I would do it again for this one right here, so I'm going to keep my promise with that. The skating is fantastic. We get a chance to go see these kids, like you said, it's phenomenal. Kids are having fun. Other than that, man, we just want to express our gratitude from Homeland Civic and Social Club for the way things. Brian, the supervisor, he was on time with everything. We had no problem whatsoever. So on behalf of Homeland Civic and Social Club, thank you for your service. Thank you.
Step.
Anyone else?
I just kind of want to, before we move forward, I am working with an organization with Mr. Rich Hughes.
Okay.
And there are some plans in motion right now. We're trying to make the park more invitable, more ADA compliant.
Okay.
And in those plans is a walkway. from
Okay,
the parking
well,
lot.
just to give you an idea, you know, I don't know if you was in the meeting, we have with the police jury. The police jury have over $250,000. And what they're doing, they're asking for was what? Now, I myself, I didn't put anything in it for the simple reason, whatever the people want is fine with me. I didn't want no personalization on anything. But working with that, one of the things that was brought up was a splash pad as well. I'm pretty sure you heard about that. So whatever, if we can combine our 2 cents with their 2 cents, now it becomes 4 cents. And I'm pretty sure Mr. Stefanski, I don't know, I think this year gonna be a fiscal year too, so they'll be able to accelerate the use of that money. But if you can, give them Mr. Walt Andrews and talk to him and see can maybe putting the monies together and go a lot further. And I'm pretty sure that this council wouldn't mind chipping in a few dollars too. At least I would hope not. I hope so, I'm sorry. But anyway, thank you once again, so.
Yes, sir. Stay tuned. We have plans.
Anyone else? Mr. Wilbridge?
And I just want to back on Mr. Martin, because when we were putting the bathrooms in there, we also had talked about doing a sidewalk for the handicap, the wheelchair. And people going out there with wheelchairs can't put their loved ones on a pavilion. So I understand Mr. Hughes, me and Mr. Hughes talked about the handicap accessible building for here too, so I think that's something we shouldn't even think about. We should make that happen no matter what. I don't care what agencies we need to get with. They're just common courtesy to help out the handicapped and the elderly. And that's all. I just wanted to piggyback. It was in the work, talking with the mayor about it too.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for Peter?
Just one last thing, Steph. I'm meeting with Mr. Andrews tomorrow afternoon.
Okay. If you need me, I'll be in town.
Well, we're meeting for the Boys and Girls Club thing at 1 o'clock, and then after that, we're meeting over at MLK Center, so.
Okay, well, that, I don't know if it was in the paper or not, but, I'm sorry. Anytime they have a meeting, especially with the Boys and Girls Club, I got people in that area who'd be glad to come in.
Well, this is just the preliminary part of the Boys and Girls Club thing for the, a subcommittee that is just
Oh, okay.
looking at buildings right now.
Okay. But, I mean, bear in mind, we got a building that'd be ideal for it. It might have to have some structural changes to it, and that's the MLK Center. Because you would definitely have to have a basketball court.
I'll update you
Is
tomorrow.
that? You can't do
It
what?
has to be private, it has to be shut off from the public, it can't be.
Unless they change that. Because Lafayette has all their buildings, most of their buildings with the Boys and Girls Club. Matter of fact, they started off on Marsh Street, and they moved from that point on. But I mean, even to the point, what other buildings are you looking at?
That, well, I can't say right at this moment, but I can tell you that the MLK Center probably won't meet the requirements of the Boys and Girls Club as far as security and blocking things up. You see, there has to be an area where no one else can be where the Boys and Girls Club is. Okay, so there would have to be walls built, and then at the same time there would be shared areas.
What you mean walls?
But that's, let me finish. There's a lot of requirements that the Boys and Girls Club have that, I mean, you may not agree with them, I may not agree with them, but that's what their requirements are to be able to get their charter. So MLK Center isn't the perfect place for it, let's put it that way. There's other areas that we're looking at right now, and we'll report back to you once we come up with a better location.
Okay, but I ask the question again. What do you mean walls put up? As far as what? Are you talking about a gated segment of a town? I mean, what I mean by gated section, I mean what they would actually be, you know.
There has to be a separate entrance, okay? There has to be, it has to be closed off from anywhere where the public can be. It's got to be a secure area. And it has to have a kitchen, and it has to have a bunch of other things. But the point is that it's not the perfect place for it. It's a possibility, don't get me wrong. But there's other areas that we're looking at right now that might be better. So just Give us a chance, okay?
Oh, I mean,
Rotary's working very hard on this.
well, I can understand Rotary, but I mean, you telling me this, I mean, right down Dulles, that's the Boys and Girls Club, because I, coached them many times.
I'm sorry?
In Lafayette, on Dulles, that's a Boys and Girls Club, I think it's on Marie Antoinette, I think, and the corner of that, it's in that area around Lafayette High.
Lafayette has two, I believe.
Well, that's one of them,
Right.
unless they moved it, but I mean, that's something new to me.
We're working with the administrators for Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, well, I'll be out of town in the morning, so I definitely wanted to be there, but Byron, are you planning on
Well,
being there? Well, we have a real, that's it. Thank you, man, appreciate it. Thank you, Rick.
I can be there.
Anyone else? Okay, city engineer? Thank you, sir. Then I will recess
Thank you.
recreation.
Thank you. Next is zoning and annexation. Mr. Coleman.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I'd like to amend the agenda if possible. There is a recommendation, thank you. There's a recommendation that was issued by the Planning Commission that apparently was received late. So I'd like to amend the agenda to include that.
Offered it or considered. Mr. Martin?
Offered.
Mr. Sammy?
Yes. Well, I second it.
Ms. Stringfellow?
I second.
Yes.
Mr. Primo?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Coleman.
Jim, do you have anything for us?
No action.
Okay. The first thing on the agenda, I had tabled this matter previously, and I think the proper way to do it is for me to bring it back up in this committee, and that is item 1 that you're looking at. Upon favorable recommendation of the City of Crowley Planning Commission to consider approving the application for a variance to allow conditional use of the permit for City Switch 298-200 East Mill Street, Crowley, to erect a tower that will be located at the above address. I would like to set this motion forward in an effort to open the door for
I'll second
discussion.
it, I'll second it. Since I learned what it was, I'll second that motion.
Okay, any discussion on the item? Yes, Mr. Lyons is here, who is representing the City Switch. If you'll remember, when this came up the first time, we were unaware of it, and there was some issue with law code on water pipes, and I think that's been cleared. You've probably seen the flags that they put, which is on the western end of the piece of property. There's been no issue raised by CLECO that would legally cause any objection to considering this location. And then Mr. Lyons was gracious enough to join us in case anybody had any questions.
I just have one.
So,
How tall will this tower be?
This will be a 190-foot monopole.
Wait, how?
190-foot monopole, which is a single steel pole with a concrete subsurface foundation.
We have retaining wires on it, right?
Excuse me?
The retaining wires, or
No.
this is both?
So they're kind of three different kinds of cell towers. This is a monopole that really looks like a CLECO or an Entergy single transmission pole. Then there's a three-sided kind, and then there's a bigger kind that has guy wires. This is just a single pole with a concrete foundation.
Okay, so it will be synced into the ground, or will it be molded?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so they have to go and excavate the ground and put in a concrete foundation, and then the pole is attached to that concrete foundation, and that foundation is what holds it up.
Okay, well, this question right here gonna blow your mind, but this is one of the questions.
Sure.
Will it interfere with my cell phone? That's the question that was asked. I said, look, if you got AT&T, I hope you ain't got nobody working for AT&T here, but AT&T don't need much, it'll drop.
Well, so that's
Well, it is what it
actually,
is.
now, Councilman, that's why we're here, because this is for AT&T. I can show you.
Oh, well, y'all got phones.
Yeah, what you guys already know, which is, so this is approximately where we are.
So in other words, y'all will make your reception better?
Yes.
Please put that tower on there. Please put
So what it does is, just real briefly, I don't want to take up too much of your time. So these are existing towers. This is AT&T coverage now. Red is in building. That's the best coverage. yellow is in your car, and then green is outdoors. So right here in the middle of the city, there's basically a pretty, AT&T's coverage is outdoor. You can probably get something indoor, but not much. I was on my phone here before the meeting
Okay,
started.
so you agree with
I
it.
got a
Okay,
couple
we go.
bars, but I couldn't download an email. So this is designed to fix that problem. And this is what it would look like if the tower goes up from that location afterwards, at that whole area. Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming. My question is,
Sure.
the one on Standard Mill Road as you're going east, it would be on the south side. Is that the similar pole that they're putting up?
Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with that particular location, so I might be able to, yeah. So, but it's, I mean, this is again, it's a single metal monopole, no high wires or anything like that. I guess one issue came up in terms of, because of the height of the tower and the no water lines under it, distance from the water company across the street. The towers like this are designed to basically have a sort of a fail point as opposed to coming down like a tree. So if there is a wood, it's designed to withstand hurricane winds. If something happens and there's a structural issue, it basically is designed to bend and not come down like a tree. We looked at, the issue came up, we looked at other sites around. We looked at, there's basically a Google Earth app that can show you other towers. We looked at those towers. Turns out that some of those towers are not within the city limits of Crowley. So that was an honest mistake on my part. We were not trying to deceive anyone. We were just looking at other towers in the vicinity to see how close they were to electrical facilities. These are all in the area based on what we looked at Google Earth, but we should have caught that before I submitted that information, so that's on me.
Okay.
Thank you. And historical district, it's in the historic, and
It
that's.
is, yeah, and we obtained approval for that.
Okay, okay,
Yes,
good,
yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Be taken up next week.
Thank you very much.
Please hurry up with that time. I'm serious, man.
The next thing on the agenda, to consider adopting an emergency ordinance to suspend provisions of temporary structures and uses. Mayor.
Yes, what this is, it's a bill number 526. It's just been passed through legislation.
Okay,
And what it allows is only residential, not commercial. And it allows a resident to be able to live in a camper or whatever temporarily until they can get their home repaired.
That's correct.
And that was lifted out throughout the state. And GOSEP, which is the Office of the Governor, required all of the municipalities in the state of Louisiana where needed to be able to pass this. So this ordinance is an emergency ordinance which gives us a 60-day window to be able to have this ordinance in place in case a hurricane would come next week. We pray to God not. And that gives us a window. On the 13th of September, which is going to be next Wednesday, we are going to propose an introduction for an ordinance for a public hearing for the October meeting, and that's when we'll pass that ordinance, and then we'll be clear of this window that was 60 days of this emergency ordinance. I hope that explains it. Yes, sir.
Well, just to explain to what they're saying, for the first time, Louisiana, believe it or not, they have over 4,000 or 5,000 trailers that we were sending this week that the government bought. But like the mayor said, because the ordinance in the city, you just couldn't put them up. So now they got people, it originated from the people in Lake Charles and Cameron Parish. They got some people, believe it or not, that's living all the way in Homer and Morgan City, that's driving back and forth to go back to work in Lake Charles. It don't make any sense, but I mean, it is what it is with the price of gas. So if I'm not mistaken, I think Clay Higgins and him and Cassidy and Senator Kennedy, they got together, and it's like a force of habit, it's the best thing happening. Because right now, I mean, everybody wants to be in their own yard. And if the federal government don't give you a trailer rent-free compared to the government paying a hotel room, you know, I mean, state price right now is $50, but that's still $50 a day. And the fact of the matter, you go to Lake Charles, we can't find work, that's nobody to work. So with this being passed, I think this is gonna go good, because right here in Crowley, believe it or not, when the last hurricane passed, we were out there. Okay, and I can tell you right now, they had a lot of people that was out of place with their homes. We done what we could to shack it up. And also, for the first time, the Louisiana Housing Corporation is allowing us to do what we call scattered sites. Y'all familiar? I'm pretty sure Brad, you know, and Tim, you know what I'm talking about. They allow us to do a scattered site, meaning we can do one house in one block instead of doing subdivisions or what have you. The only problem we're gonna have with that is mobilization, but it works for everybody. That means we can find a house in Crowley, a lot in Crowley, build a home right there, and it would be really up to the mayors and also to the, for what it's saying, the municipalities and the parish to go ahead and allow it to come for sale. And actually, since the housing shortage is so bad, they're allowing us, well, they will allow us to build the houses instead of renting, they allow us to sell. Okay? So through FHA and Fannie Mae and Fannie Mac, so it's a good thing, and I'm glad you brought it up. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Kim?
Thank you, Jim. Mayor, explain the 60 days, so this is like on top of any emergency order that we would have for 60 days.
That is correct.
Okay.
This particular emergency ordinance allows you 60 days, and that's it. So if something, now.
So it's only applicable if
For
we have
60
an emergency order that you.
That is correct, yes,
Okay.
ma'am. So I just want everybody to understand too, that we have a committee meeting tonight. So I've been keeping up almost every day with the National Weather Service and Weather Channel, and Channel 10, Channel 3, everybody. And if there were to have an emergency come up where a storm would just develop in the Gulf of Mexico really quick, and we would declare an emergency, I would call an emergency meeting where this could be placed immediately. But it can't tonight because we're in a committee meeting. So this will get voted in next Wednesday at our regular council meeting.
Are all of our emergency orders for 60 days or?
No.
Okay, so
No, it's just this emergency
even
order.
if we do an emergency order for 30 days, we can still have this for 60 days.
That's correct.
It can be encompassed in.
Well, this is just this particular item.
Okay.
This emergency order.
Sammy? I guess my question is, so if something bad would happen, they get a trailer, they can only hold the trailer for 60 days?
No, that ordinance, this particular ordinance allows us a window of 60 days where it gives us time to be able to place a permanent ordinance in our ordinance.
Exactly.
See, we have our ordinances that are in place already. We don't have anything in place to accommodate the new legislation, law that went into legislation. So now we have to place a permanent ordinance in our book of ordinances. But right now, until we get that passed, we have to have this particular emergency ordinance in place in case if a storm comes up. Until we place that ordinance in October.
Yeah, I guess my question really is really with the trailer, so if something bad would happen, somebody gets a trailer, I know it says, what's the word?
Well, and what you're looking at also is going to be really, this is just a title that Mr. Reagan came up with, and he will be structuring a nice ordinance, and the language will be a lot different. I say different, it's going to be added on to what his title says as well. And that will give you a lot more clarification on what they can do and can't do. And then, of course, they will have, you will have to go to provisions and look at state statutes that are already in regs. So they'll probably all have to follow with these ordinances.
Sammy, I think what I'm looking at is the word temporary, because I already know that something that's supposed to be temporary, they'll let it live in it.
Are you talking about like if the trailer is allowed, how long is it gonna be able to be there?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yes.
Yeah, I almost might have a trailer parked at their house for 2 years, and it's supposed to be temporary.
Right, and then
Or getting rented out.
hopefully that language will come along with this ordinance. If not, I'm sure there's going to be some revisions in there for you to go and look at another ordinance or another state statute, like Louisiana State Revised Statute or whatever it is. So at this point, it's brand new, and we're just trying to make sure that we can.
Okay, Steph?
Yeah, I just want to, just respond, on the 60 days, the 60 days is a running time, okay, like the mayor says, it's a running time. But at any time, the mayor can call a special meeting to make it permanent. See, as long as it falls in the purview of the 60 days, the mayor can I ain't gonna lie to you, at the time you were talking, I was kind of woozy. But anyway, I wanted to make sure I had that clear, because I couldn't understand it with the 60 days well, really, that was a good question. But the way it is, the reason why they turn it over to the municipalities, so that we can involve through ordinance. You know, we may say, okay, you know what, you can only keep the trailer for 6 months after that. Then you have to come back in front of the council and tell us why. You know, whatever the word is, but they're leaving it up to the municipalities, because all municipalities, the low-lying areas, you got people like, you know, they ain't worried about that. You know, until something happened that put them in. But yeah, it's just that anytime within the 6 days, we have to call a special meeting, and we can make this thing however we want it.
Right now, you're just moving this to full council.
Any further comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, and the last thing, you should have in your packet a recommendation made by the Planning Commission. The letter reads on August 30th, the Planning Commission makes a favorable recommendation for approval of the proposed re-subdivision of the property shown on the preliminary and final plat located at Lot 5, Block 21, Deuce 3rd subdivision, Acadia Parish, shown as Tract A and Tract B, City of Crowley, Acadia Parish. I don't see Tract B on what I have. I don't know if you do. We have a plat of some sort attached, but it shows 5A. I'm not certain what we're looking at.
It's, just to let everybody know where it's at, it's Mr. Wayne Wood that has the property on Hutchinson. And he has a property on the side of it. And that's what he's doing, is getting that subdivided.
He's subdividing Lot A.
Lot 5A is a portion of Lot 5.
Yeah.
See, this is Lot 5.
Right.
So what Mr. Wildridge wants to do is purchase this piece, so basically you're subdividing the subdivided lot.
Yes.
The reason he wants to,
He's leaving the right of way.
he's leaving on this strip,
He's going to own that.
no, he's gonna leave this piece along the west side for the owner to the south, to have access, because that's where the driveway is to the property. So he's just buying this portion.
Is there a house?
Yes, that is the house here. And
So
that's
he's
where the-
buying the Lot A
He's buying, it's
from,
buying
from the guy that owns the house?
Yes.
That's
to add on to his existing.
Like, he's leaving 25 feet in the rear, for them to have access.
For them to have to be.
Okay. Does everybody understand what Brad just explained? Basically, the loaner of Lot A is, the loaner of Lot 5 is selling A5, 5A, and keeping the rest of it. Okay. All right.
So it's a lot and a half, lot?
It's one lot that's being split, but not completely in half, because that little square at the bottom,
Right,
right above Block 21, there's a house sitting there.
right.
And that footage on the left side of A5 is a driveway.
So they're gonna be coming off of Ross, Avenue?
You can make a motion.
I didn't make the motion. I'll make the
I'll
motion.
second.
Okay. Any other discussion on this?
Yeah, just one lot, they're gonna be coming off of Ross, or they're gonna be coming off of Hutchinson?
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson? Okay, so you're gonna leave that open, okay, that's good, okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Yeah, okay, yeah, Hutchison, yeah. Okay, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And if no one has anything else for zoning and annexation, we will recess.
Thank you. Next is public safety, Mr. Cord.
I'd like to call to order the Public Safety All members are present. We'll begin with Chief Russo.
It works. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Crowley Police responded to 735 calls for service in the month of August. The patrol shift has issued 54 traffic citations in the city during the month of August with 79 violations. 32 of these were for speeding in a school zone. 115 tickets with 123 violations were written in the month of August, and 29 other criminal citations were issued. Our narcotics division has had 12 arrests in the month of August. Our criminal investigations division received 50 cases in the month of August. Out of these, 10 were closed, 2 were sent to the district attorney for review, 11 were suspended, and 27 remain open. We are down 7 patrol officers. However, we are looking at employing 3 very soon to cover, so that should leave us down only about 4 officers. The 10% bump approved by the council began on September 1st, and all staff was very excited on that and very grateful to the council for that. There were some residual funds left over at the end of the previous budget, which allowed us to purchase 2 all-terrain vehicles for officers to use for ballpark detail as well as other security details. Also, funds were able to be applied from the budget to finally purchase 26 tablets with cases and docking stations and with chargers for the officers to be able to use laptops in their units to complete their reports. This will allow the officers to be more on the streets and less in the office working on needed reports. There is about a 6 to 10 week wait on these, but the lowest bidder happened to be Gibson PC, a local company that the city and the police department already use for computer services, so the transition to the laptops will be very easy. And finally, we are awaiting the ARPA funds for purchase of in-car camera systems and reporting systems with e-citations to be placed on the laptops. At present, officers will have to use a VPN mode to access the present reporting system should the laptops be available before the new reporting system. The new program, however, will be web-based and will allow officers to log on anywhere to be able to complete reports.
Any questions for Chief? Mr. Craig?
Yes, sir. To me, that would be a public safety issue, but Chief, would it be possible for the patrols, when they're out, if they see a light out, could they maybe phone it into dispatch?
Actually, that's already being done, so we've sent, we've kept the list, which we've sent copies to Ms. Tamika.
It's already done.
Yes, and we've sent like 3 reports to them, so they're already working on
It's already done, it's already sent to Clico.
There's probably 50 or 60, sites. 25.
Okay, thanks.
You're ahead of you.
Okay. I guess this is directed to the mayor. Mayor, with the lights being out, one of the things that the citizens were told when they call in with the lights is that they have to call Clico.
No, sir.
Well, wait, if I may. They said that when they called about lights out, they were told to call Clico. And they called me, and I'm pretty sure they give Byron calls. They very, very upset with that. Say, why do we have to call Clico? And I'm like, well, that's not the way it used to be. So just for verification right here, what's the protocol for, now that we got the police department and hopefully the fire department or whoever, public safety, calling them? Should it be that we leave it up to them, for this, or could they call the police department and say, well, look, corner of Avenue A and 5th Street, there's a light out, just for clarification. So they shouldn't have to call, from here on out, they shouldn't have to call City Hall, right? Well,
I would love for them to call City Hall. We want to be able to help the constituents as much as possible.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
If that happened, I apologize.
Well, no, but yeah, the reason why I'm saying that, because City Hall opens at 8, closes at 4:30. Police department stays open.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean, for
Yeah.
convenience. Because it might have been someone walking the streets and all, hear a pile, and the light is out.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was saying. Just for clarification, so I tell them from here on out, after hours, call the police department.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, that's what I need, thank you.
Mr. Stringfellow?
Thank you. I would like for my constituents to call me because they've done that before, and what I do is I bundle them. And sometimes I'll ask them on Facebook as well, if any lights that are out, let me know, and I send them to Clico straight away, and they get them.
But that's what that ends, the problem lies, because basically when they call me, I'm normally wherever, but at the end of the day, I don't know, how the protocol is with this, but we have to have a screen, because some people get kind of, perturbed with people when, well, why am I supposed to call this or that? They don't understand that we're not every place everywhere, but the police department is on every block, at one time or the other. But I appreciate what you just said, but if they call me, I'm gonna have to tell them the same thing that I just expunged on. Okay, well, you gotta call City Hall. Well, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, you understand, they just went out. You see what I'm saying? I'll even go to work at 5 in the morning, or whatever, and it's still dark. Or my kids, or right now the kids are going to school in the dark. So that's something I wanted. But as far as that, well, I always have to call one of us, especially in our district. And it's always the same thing. Well, when I called City Hall, they told me I had to call Clico. But now that we got it straight, I think it'd be better. Well, I know that, I would like Byron to do the same. If you get a phone call with it, text me on it, and I'll forward it to you and say, okay, this block right here needs to be checked in our district. Or if I'm going through and I see somebody else from another district, I'll call them and say, hey, look, you got a light on, whatever. That'll work. All right, thank you.
Mayor, while we're on street lights, Oddfellow Road is very dark in certain sections, there's a lot of foot traffic.
Oddfellow?
Yes, I know we have some lights, is there any way that people could install additional lights and maybe a higher intensity light? Because at night it's very dark and, there's a lot of foot traffic and individuals on bicycles and, I think it's a real safety hazard, which we can address.
Okay, we'll check into that tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Anything else for Chief Broussard?
Oh, yeah, Chris. The front of kindergarten on Parks, I not noticed the square lights slow down for speed limit during school zones.
Stop blinking.
I don't see it.
Okay.
We'll check on that.
I want to get in touch with, the school board.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. It just hit my mind. I told him I would bring it up. All right, as you know, Candace and, well, we just extended, myself and Bob, we just extended our district for the first time going into Ward 1. Well, I call it Ward 1. And I was walking the other day and I noticed, well, from the railroad track on down, how dark it is on the road. We didn't have many people get here. I don't know, Mayor, if we can do an MOU with the police jury to get some lights over there. Because, man, let me tell you something. If you cross that, what they call it, the back store, what have you, down north and head to campus, not campus, but the Meadows and also the Westwood, and also to one of our biggest employers, which is Capital Manufacturing. When you leave Capital Manufacturing, it's dead road from that point on. Now, I think there's a light when you turn in from to Westwood. But other than that, the only other lights they have is just that stuff. Now, I don't know what it's gonna take to do an MOU with the police jury, but while they got some of the money, I think it might be a little idea, to go ahead and see can we get some lights over there.
Also, meeting set with Mr. Walter,
Okay.
call him, and we can talk about that as well.
I appreciate that, man, but I did tell him I was gonna bring that up. Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you, Seth. Anything else? Please, Chief Jim Broussard. All right, so we'll move on next to Fire Chief Louis Fabella.
Oh, he couldn't make it, he has a meeting back.
Go to number 3.
He'll give you a report Wednesday, Mr. Chairman.
I'm sorry?
Next Wednesday, he'll have a report.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. City Inspector Tony Duhon is also not available, but I do have an email from him, which I'll read summarizing his report. Attached for review, code enforcement cases, quantity 2, trash and rubbish, quantity 1, uninhabitable structure, quantity 73, tall grass violations, quantity 13, properties were cut, animal control, 83 calls, 49 dog complaints, 19 cat complaints, 10 dead animals, and 5 cruelty investigations. Under permits, 25 electrical, 8 plumbing, 3 gas, 2 mechanical, 3 construction, 1 fence, and 6 demo. Contact us if further information is needed. Respectfully, Tony. And he also provided his detailed report for his code enforcement activity, if anybody would like to see that. Mr. Craig.
So, that was an extensive report. Is Tony still by himself, doing all of this by himself? Or-
Yes.
And is there any progress being made in his report?
Mr. Mark.
With that, I wanted to bring it up as well. I had a chance to go by there the other day, and, man, look, before we run this man off with all this work, man, is there one in office, maybe one of the ladies that might be able to just, I remember they had a female working at one time, they were, they do most of the paperwork.
Just to let everybody assured, Mr. Guillaume and I are in touch with this every day.
Right.
It's okay.
Okay, well, I just want to, look,
We work on it. I understand. I understand, and I appreciate the concern. And this young lady is helping very much. Yes.
Okay, next we go to action items. To approve the application for retail beer and liquor permit for Tokyo, Japan Sushi Hibachi Steakhouse. And I so move.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Primo. Discussion. Mr. Bell.
Thank you. Knowing the date and delinquency of this, were the appropriate late fees assessed?
I'll also, I will have to get with the lady who's handling it. That I do not know at this point, but I can have you answer more.
And I'd also like to know if any citations have been issued to this applicant for selling liquor without license since January 1st of this year. I think that's in our ordinance. I think, you know, someone just waiting this late in the game to apply. It's certainly not keeping with the ordinances nor other establishments that have maintained their licenses and applications appropriately.
Totally understand. As the person, as I told you before, the person came in and was asking for a copy of their permit that was issued and couldn't find one. But of course, everybody knows this, that the city of Crowley is not responsible for everyone's permit to be updated. That is the business establishment's responsibility. And we do send, however, a letter of courtesy to remind people to get that done. And that's what we do.
Oh, sure, and that's the reason we have a fine with provision within the ordinance to.
But just, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, but just to let you know that the ladies realized that he did not have, or that establishment did not have that proper permit available, and they asked him to cease, and from what I understand, I think they did, right, Chief?
Yes, they did.
They did cease from selling alcohol.
Mayor, do we have possibly a system in place where applicants from, let's say, 2021 that had liquor permits, and then we get for the applicants for 2022, can we compare the two applications, or just a spreadsheet to show that last year, this particular vendor had a liquor permit and they didn't apply? I just checks and balances, that way, you know.
Yes, and we do that. And the people who apply, who currently have one, obviously the ones who, and I'm going to give you an example, 2021. The people who have applied for it and have gotten one, that's who we send the notices to for the year 2022. And then they'll get those reminders, and then it's up to them to apply.
Yes, again, so it just seems, doesn't seem fair to other applicants that apply.
I understand.
And we have fines that enforce. And then who would issue the fines? Would that be code enforcement?
Yes, when they first look at the application to make sure, you know, a lot of people call it renewed, but it's not renewed. It's a brand new license that people get every year.
Right.
And code enforcement looks at it to make sure, you know, on our part of it, that it's done, like, zoning and so forth.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's sent to the chief, and the chief reviews it, and, of course, does his end of it, and then sends it back, and then we bring it up.
And the chief basically just checks the background of the applicant, period. That's as far as you go. But as far as issuing a fine for selling alcohol within the city without a license, that would fall within our
Well,
enforcement department.
I will confirm that in the morning.
Actually, I'm not sure if it wouldn't fall to us, we're keeping track of it.
Okay.
As you know, we've been doing like 6-month reports of, you know, any
Yes.
problems or issues with that. To be quite honest, this is the first one, and they're correct, yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. The first one that we've received this late, because in all actuality, this person's paying for this one,
And they've heard it.
next month they're gonna pay for another one.
That's correct.
Well, but again, it's.
Right, I know, but.
The fine still needs to come into play.
Yes. Yeah.
It's straightforward.
Thank you. Have they ever had a liquor license? Because I know they're relatively
Ever had?
new.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, so they did at one
Yes.
time, okay,
Yes.
okay.
Mr. Reggie?
And the question is the fine per day, because they were operating every day since January 1st, or do you just want it as one?
And I do have a copy of the penalty, and it states minimum $50, not to exceed $500. And basically, each area violation of any provision of this code shall continue constitutes a separate offense. So it could be per day, but I guess that would be up to the judge to decide.
What's that number?
1-8, general penalty. I'll keep a copy.
Right, I don't want to make excuses for them because I don't know their situation, but it sounds like they went to City Hall questioning if there was a copy because they didn't have a copy. I'll tell you, as a establishment who sells beer and liquor, I can purchase from the distributors beer and liquor without a city license. They do not request a city license. All they request is the state license. So it's very possible that, and this, you know, these people I think have multiple locations, and whether they're running their business right or not, it's not a business either, but it's very possible they thought they did have the license. Chances are either the fire marshal, Board of Health, someone like that came in and asked for those licenses because those departments will ask for occupation license, liquor licenses, and things of that sort. And they didn't have it, so it sounds like they went to City Hall and asked for it, a copy of it, thinking that they just lost their copy. I don't know their circumstances, if they actually did it on purpose or not, but it sounds to me like they didn't realize that they did not renew it. Because they've never asked, I'm never asked for the city license until the state police comes in for the poker machines. They'll ask for it. Board of Health will usually ask for it sometimes, but to purchase beer and liquor, we can purchase beer and liquor all year long without a city license. All they ask for is the state license. Just a little FYI. I don't think it was legitimate on their part.
But again, you know, we have an ordinance in place, it is what it is.
Oh, I agree with that. I agree.
All of you guys that follow the ordinance, you know, and people that don't, there are penalties for it.
There's laws and we need to enforce the laws. I agree with
And that's my whole point.
Madam Chair.
Mr. Martin.
Chad, I want to clear something up with you. It's been a minute since I was on the board, so what you're saying is that when the distributor, whether it's Shilling or what have you, they come, they don't ask for the city license? They don't look for it on the wall?
No. All I have to send them is my state license.
Okay, but that's to get what we call the bar discount.
There's no discount.
They call it wholesale.
Yeah.
You know.
No, that's so that they can track the sales, so they make sure
So the
we
tax
pay
base,
those sales
right,
taxes.
right.
That's what that's about.
Yeah, but I've seen situations where out in Walmart.
But yeah, they ask for the state license.
Yeah, but it's all good, but that's why I just wanted to make sure that was something new. Okay, we good, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, he was making reference, there's a master list sent out as a courtesy for renewals. After y'all approve all the licenses at the end of the year, there should be another master list to compare who you sent a courtesy to and who actually renewed their license. January 1st, sent it to the chief, shut it down.
Yeah, that was basically what I was alluding to.
Yeah, I
Thank you for
figured that out.
clarifying.
That's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, so I think it's a great idea to send it to the chief of police,
Exactly.
let him go forward with it. And certainly, that would avoid the penalty and fine of $50 a day for 9 months versus maybe a week or so. But thank you. Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor to vote this forward to the full council for consideration? Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. On discussion items, I'm sorry.
For next week, will we have these answers as to what the fine is and before we have to vote on it next Wednesday?
Mayor and Chief, if you get that,
Okay.
detailed, I appreciate it.
That's not a fine in place now? Y'all don't have none in place?
On discussion items, update from Tony Duhon regarding the unlawful pallets on Broadacres Drive, and I think this was submitted by Oklahoma Kim Stringfellow, which I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, Chair. And I guess since Mr. Dion isn't here, Mayor, if you can just let us know, give me
They began cleanup.
They began cleanup, okay. Do you know if they received their citation? Okay, because I know they didn't get the certified letter came back, I think, but,
They received the citation.
okay. And they have until when to get it cleaned up, do you know?
God, I don't know the date.
Okay. Do you mind, just texting me that date tomorrow? Okay, thank you.
Number two.
And then take, I'm sorry, but also take into consideration, I've been over there, and Tony's been over there, and it's been so wet, they really had, they sunk 2 trailers. And they couldn't get in and out, so it's been raining a lot.
I think they're conducting business.
Well, not anymore.
Item number 2, request for street lighting on West Bay Drive.
Yes, I almost brought this up when we were speaking about the lighting. A resident there had told me that a previous alderwoman had said, and this was before all of our term, that they were going to get 2 poles on that street. So it's not just light issue, it's actually the poles. And I don't know who to contact to do that. And they actually had markers out there, they were ready to go, and that was not your administration, but the previous one. So,
Do you know about what the address is?
yeah, I can get it to you, but it's not a long street. It's right across the bayou from, you know where Avenue D Bridge, it's right there on the,
South side.
yeah, the south side.
The south side, right?
Yes, sir.
Where, you
Yes.
talk about where West Bayou Drive begins?
Yes, all the way, right
On
there.
the corner by the bridge. That's not,
Well, yeah, along that strip.
okay.
West Bay Drive parallels the south side of the line, of the ditch.
Right, first I'll look to see if there's anything that was requested back then. I'm sure Cleco would have something if there was something, or something turned it, or someone turned it in. And if they didn't, I just need to get more specific on where that location is, so I can give them the footage.
Okay, I can do that, I can get that to you.
Okay, please, thank you.
Okay, number 3, update on the city is mowing grass around the area of North Avenue I and Oddfellows Road. I think Mr. Stringfellow's your request.
Yes, Mayor, we're still mowing the right of ways, because that was, brought to my attention on, Avenue I and also on Oddfellows.
Okay, we mow on Oddfellow because that goes back to the state program. The state program, there's so many miles that we keep up. Oddfellow Road is, but Avenue I isn't. So the property owners are responsible for keeping up, and it's an ordinance as well. And they're responsible for keeping up to the back edge, which is the edge of the road. They're responsible for their own ditches, they're responsible for even across the ditch up to the edge of the road.
Because there was a little portion of Odd Fellows that wasn't being mowed, so, and it,
Well, our tractor has, unfortunately, during all the rain, we got it back today, thank God. Our sidewinder, what we call it, that cuts along the side, just got it back today. And, dog's been,
because it just looked like it had missed that little portion.
Well,
So I just want to make sure.
they probably tried to do something back when and just kept, and probably couldn't keep up with it. So now we got our tractor back, so we're desperately trying to catch up.
So no on Avenue I, but on Odd Fellows.
That's up to the property owners.
Okay.
And Mayor also
But
have,
however, we'll point this out, is that if anybody comes to a stop sign or whatever, if there's if it's a public safety issue, please notify us at City Hall so we can take care of it immediately. Whether we have to weed it, cut it with a hand mower or whatever, we need to get that taken care of immediately.
That's probably why I thought we did, because it gets like that.
If it's by a stop
Okay.
sign or some
Yeah.
traffic issue, please notify us.
Okay, all right, thank you.
and Mayor, while we're on that area, property that's on the west side of Tractor Supply, but in the east side of the shopping center, where McDonald's is, there is a strip between, on the west property line of Tractor Supply, with a lot of overgrowth, tall trees, and it used to be maintained. I'm not sure who is responsible for that as far as which property owner.
Again, on the
On
west
Tractor
side
Supply,
of
Tractor Supply, right. If you drive in the driveway, on Bob Fellows all the way to the right, behind the shopping
Behind that
center,
little shopping
there's
center.
a long road, just overgrowth.
Have to look, see.
And it's in a work order, or a request, and it's been like that, and it's gotten worse over the months. But it's not appreciated. Next, number 4, request for ordinance for dangerous dog permits and tags in the city. Springfield, turn over to you again.
Yes, thank you. I had visited the animal shelter in Rain in probably 2019, and I spoke with the volunteers from ASEA there, and they were telling me about their ordinance they had in Rain where they microchip the pit bulls in particular. And so I think I sent that ordinance to y'all, Mayor, and in particularly section 1830D is what I don't, it's just up for discussion, something to think about. I'll probably bring it up to Mr. Reagan. And
Here's a copy of our ordinance. Very detailed and extensive.
do we microchip?
Yes, we do.
Not mistaken, yeah.
Yes, we do, according to section 4-56 of the Code of Ordinances.
So they have to be registered and microchipped?
That is correct.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that
the
only
letters-
for when they've bitten someone, or?
No, it's at the time that they receive it. 4-56, if you'll go with me to that. Last page.
I don't think I have 56 in here.
Yes, you do, Mayor. You actually go on the last page.
Okay, thank you.
4-56, permit and tag requirement for dangerous or vicious animal. A says that they shall, within 3 business days after the dog has been declared as dangerous or vicious, obtain an annual permit from the Department of Animal Control. B also says that the red circular tag should be issued to the owner to clearly identify them. C says, at the time the permit is issued, the animal shall be implanted with a microchip identification device by a veterinarian or a trained animal control officer.
And we just had to purchase some new equipment for that, not long.
And how do we police this?
That's actually through animal control. I know, and I'm not sure, because I mean, there's been so much turnover in animal control lately, and I know Cody's trying his best.
Yeah.
I know at one point there was a list kept by the animal control officers of the dogs that were tagged. They either receive it from the veterinarian, or if they did it themselves, they had their own report.
So if a neighbor has a suspicion about a dog, and they go out
There should be a microchip reader that the animal control
along
officers
with that
have.
red circular tag.
Yes, ma'am. Because sometimes, of course, the red circular tag won't be there, but it'll fall off for whatever reason. But they do have, or they did have, I don't know if it's still operable, a microchip reader where they were able to determine that.
Okay, okay, good. I thought I had looked in ours and I didn't see it, so thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Number 5, request for adequate street lighting and installation of street signs from Mustang Road at the intersection of South Avenue C to assist visitors of the ballpark. And, I think we talked about that.
Yes, and it has been taken care of.
We think we're gonna be able to put a light there, or?
Yes, I'm pretty sure.
Because it's very dark.
Yes, and we have a sign that we're going to put there because it is a designated street.
Yes, yes.
And also the light, and of course, you know, once you get that cleared, then I can give you a confirmation.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other business to come before the committee? Committee recesses.
Thank you. Next is public buildings. Mr. Woodward.
Public Buildings Committee, we got a forum. Before I go on, I'd like to make an amendment to my committee report for 2 discussion items. That's gonna be held by Councilman Martin on those 2 discussion items.
Okay, and what would that be, Mr. Woodward?
Dealing with the naming of the streets and also the activity. Yeah, I'm sorry. Okay, Mayor and Council, a while back we had discussed, I don't know if it was last year with the scope, but I don't remember, but I also had a chance to talk to you about it. One of our truly, more, shall we say, well-known citizens that God has called to heaven was Orlando Pussy Thomas, which played professional ball with, he started at Crowley High, he went to USL, stand out, and he wound up, finished his career over at the Minnesota Vikings.
Mr. Martin, apologize. Let's do this real quick. Let's get the amendment done.
Okay, but that's fine.
I know you're explaining it, but then we'll move that. You just want to name some streets, right?
That and also the use of the building, which I'm gonna bring up for event.
The use of
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Right, right.
Okay, so let's do the first one, amend the agenda, and that would be Mr. Woodridge.
Motion carried.
Okay, Ms. Stringfellow,
Yeah, I'll second.
Mr. Core,
Yes.
Mr. Craver,
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
Okay, then on the second one? Yes. Okay, thank you. Continue, Mr. Woodridge, I'm sorry.
On the action items, to provide use of the Enterprise Center parking lot for the Chamber Gumbo Cook-Off on October 29th, 2022. Second. Motion carried on the board. Second by Mr. Craver. Any discussion?
She's here.
Go ahead, man, I'm sorry. Please state your name.
Megan Dion, I'm with the Indian Affairs Chamber and Mayor Council. I'm just here this evening to request use of the Enterprise grounds for our annual Gumbo Cook-Off. This will be the 18th one hosted by the Chamber of Commerce. So we always appreciate you letting us use your grounds and facilities.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Dave, you have the same right? Motion passed. On the discussion items?
Yeah. First of all, like I was saying earlier, Mr. Pucci, Orlando Thomas, and everybody calls him Pucci. He started his career standout at Crowley High. You know, this guy, his size was unprecedented to be a defensive back at 6'2", I think he was like 6'2", almost 200 pounds. And he took note, went right there to USL at the time, and he was a standout right there. Matter of fact, he led the nation in interceptions. And during draft, we always put him for first round, but he went early in the second round, and he turned out to be the best thing Minnesota ever had. That's from his coach, Dennis Green. Unfortunately, Pucci succumbed to an illness, and he's no longer with us. And the other gentleman, I'm pretty sure everybody knows, Mr. Mitchell John. Okay, the father of Peter and David John. This guy was instrumental in having the biggest business in our district. Matter of fact, it goes back from years and years when it was so-called a garment factory at the time, and I remember my sisters and just about every female there was worked at this place. So he had, as we said, the original bring it all, bring it in, and let's get it done. Okay? And one of the things that a lot of people don't know, I'm talking about Peter John. Peter was instrumental in a lot of the project step-by-step fundraising and doing this and that, helping people with it. Every time I called this man, it didn't matter what it was. He never asked the question of what you want. He asked me what I need. Okay? In fact, Mayor, I want to make it clear to everybody, when we had first talked about the bathrooms, and you know, it's unheard of and unprecedented that someone would tell you, just ask the question, well, how much would it cost to have one built? And I told him, I said, we're probably looking at about $150,000. Oh, he told me, okay, let's get it done. And I told him, I said, Peter, I said, I don't think you heard what I said, $150,000+, and this man didn't blink. He told me, hey man, let's get it done, because I'm tired of seeing all those green things over there. People shouldn't be, you know what I'm saying, going to the bathroom like that. You got elderly people. And just to show you the type of guy he is. But I was giving out food for the holidays. Called Peter, what you want, what you need, what you want to do, okay, what you need, let it go. So those two people right there, when I asked him, I said, well, Peter, I want to put your name on something that's synonymous with what you do. And he told me, he said, you know what, I don't want it, but I would like my father's name. I said, that's not a problem. And those of you, I'm pretty sure everybody know Peter. You call him Peter for anything. You know, he's one of the first companies that I know that has a female driver, like female driver, okay? And it was weird because I thought she was working at Capital, but no, she said, no, I don't drive for Capital, I drive for John Pack. It went from the back to John Pack, whatever it may be. But anyway, the area where we're looking at, I want to familiarize y'all with it. When you're coming off Hutchinson, when you cross the track, the first little road, it's just a little driveway that goes to the ballpark in the back. And the other road takes you to the Martin Luther King Center. I called some people with the Department of Justice, and they told me that as long as there's, they told me about 911, there's no houses there, so we don't have to worry about coming up with an address. It's just more or less like a token of appreciation. You know, just put the name on the counter. So when the question is asked, well, who's this? You know, a lot of people, if you go to the West Crowley subdivision, I'm sure everybody been there, as it's called new houses. Everybody asks me the Dejan Circle. I named that after my great-grandparents. When you go to Rain, the house we got in Rain, the gateway, the first one that you get to, Samuel Thomas, that's my father. And if you go into the one next to it, you see Martin Drive, which is my family. So we trying to keep it going, so I hope there'll be a conversation one day about who was this, my grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. There'll be something for them to know. And I just thought it would be appropriate to go ahead and do this. And in the meantime, what I decided to do, and don't get me wrong, I appreciate the time we spent at the Opera House with the forum, but that was only 2 minutes, and really didn't have a chance to expunge on it, okay? So what I'm doing is this. We're looking this coming Sunday at the MLK Center. And you know the weather, you praying that it stays, but you know it's going to, I hope it don't rain, but if it do, you can't get out there. So what I'm asking the council to do, if possible, I want to have, it's not a forum, it's just a come out, meet and greet for every candidate that's running. I don't care if you're a Republican, Independent, Democrat, that ain't got nothing to do with the price of salt, okay? I'm gonna hope to give door prizes every 15 minutes. This is what I'm saying. We're gonna be there from 11 in the morning until 7 at night. So there's gonna be a lot of door prizes. And we also gonna feed up to 400 people. Yes, sir, ma'am. No?
It's his committee.
Yeah.
This is number 2 on your discussion line?
Yes, I'm just trying to combine them together. So I don't know if we have to vote on that.
It's a discussion, how you can't vote on it.
Yeah.
Mr. Wood. Thank you. Right, right, so, Mr. Martin, you and I discussed about the roads, I just want to get a couple of things clarified.
Right.
Okay, which street do you want to name Mitchell John Drive?
Let's do, I spoke to both of them, and it really doesn't matter, so I'll flip the coin. Mitchell John Drive goes to the basketball court,
Okay.
and Orlando Fucci Thomas goes to the MLK.
Okay, so we'll call one Mitchell John Drive,
Right.
the other one Orlando Thomas Drive.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, all right. On the other thing, and then first, next thing, this is a discussion item.
Right.
So we're just discussing this right now. So tomorrow, I will check with Mr. Reagan.
Okay.
To make sure of the process we have to go through.
Right.
Because, it's been a long time since we named the street.
I agree.
So
That's why I picked the area where there was no, in other words,
Right.
contingency of houses or whatever.
I just want to make sure that we're doing it correctly.
Right, I agree 100%.
All right, next thing is about getting the Martin Luther King Center. I also want to ask him about that, because I know there's an ethics violation in the state law that any of us as an elected official cannot utilize or rent or whatever it may be. I'm not sure of all the terms that's written, but you cannot utilize the public building for anything. You can't rent it or do anything for anything. And I want to clarify that.
Right.
So if you don't mind, let me clarify that as
Go ahead.
well.
That's not a problem.
Mr. Reagan and I will let you know.
Right, but the chances, everything is predominantly leaning towards the outdoors, okay?
And that you can, because
That's what I'm
it's a
saying.
mark.
But I'm saying if the weather's real bad and we get full, because like I said, I just have to go to the soup kitchen today. God sent me over there. And the soup kitchen only opens on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, somewhere they told me. So this is a Sunday. And they had about 40, 50 people over there. And they were asking, well, can we come? Yes, you can. I'm feeding, my plans are to feed everybody. I don't care who you are, what you got, where you been, what color you are, what religion. That ain't got nothing to do, once again, with the price of something. Okay, this is something I'm just asking all of the participants, because it's called a step fest for a simple reason. Okay? And I had it written down here. The step fest is very simple. Let's speak to the election participants. STEP. That's what it is. Speak to the election participants. So in other words, if someone comes up there and you want to talk, hey, I won't say it'd be a question and answer, but I'll tell that person, well, if you want to talk to him, he's or she gonna be on the side right there in the next 20 minutes, whatever, y'all go talk to him. But what it is, and those that went in unopposed, congratulations. You want to come out there and just thank the people. Only thing I'm asking, if possible, taking it is gonna cost a lot. And I like I said, I'm not a rich man, but I can handle it. But what I would ask everybody, if you want to come in and participate, if you want to donate something for the food and, try and offset the food and the price, I ain't got no problem with that. But if not, still come. It doesn't matter, okay? But this is for every person that's running for office. You get a chance to talk, but we're going to have every denomination out there. I'm bringing in all of the preachers. I'm honoring all the churches. I'm honoring certain people. Mr. Nelson Arsenault is going to get the first Patriot Award. And just to give you an idea of what's what, that's 9/11. It's also Grandparents' Day. You understand what I'm saying? All that just fell. And the other person I'm honoring is Bishop Louis Dugal. I'm pretty sure everybody knows Bishop Louis Dugal. Well, he's going to get, that's something that him and his wife talk. And the crazy part about it, ladies and gentlemen, is Bishop Dugal's birthday. I mean, that's God talking, saying, hey, celebrate this man. But anyway, that's what I'm asking to do. And man, the only reason why I would say the Martin Luther King Center, in case the weather gets so bad that we just, can't. If it costs, that's not a problem.
The problem is we can't, that's the problem.
Right. But, but I'll get one of the nonprofits or what have you, if that's what it takes, and we'll come up with one way or the other. All right, but that's what I'm at with right now. And I want all of the persons that's running for office. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to talk. Okay? 5 minutes. I'm asking you, hey, bring your entourage with you, bring your t-shirt. Most of them bring your signs. So we're going to have the sign that's a trail in to where everything's at. Okay? All people that's running. All people that's just want to be inquisitive or what have you, I got questions. It's free for everybody. Everything is free. The only thing I ask is if you're going to participate, put a little money into the pot, as my dad used to say, we would make the gumbo, add a little water. Some people are going to bring water, but somebody's going to bring meat. Okay, we got enough water, and now we need some meat. But anyway, that's what I want, and as far as the naming of the streets, we're gonna go ahead and give people anticipation on it, that it will be, we may not be official on that date, but that it's coming. So, with that being said, I yield back, and I thank y'all for your time.
Go ahead, man.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just want to let everybody know that Mr. Rurich had asked me about this and where to place this, so I said, just bring it up whenever he comes up to his committee, and Mr. Martin came in, but I just want everyone to know that typically we would put street signs or discussion on Public Buildings Committee, what we did for this evening, and whenever I get the answer from Mr. Reagan, we'll make sure that we get it in the right committee, and we'll get it going the way we're supposed to.
That's good. I'm glad it was unanimous and everybody approved. I mean, when it does come up, that means a lot. Thank you.
I just have one question. If it's found that the event has to be outside, at the MRK Center, restroom access on that.
That's the problem.
Restrooms available?
That's the problem. Well, what I did, I talked to Peter, and Peter guaranteed me that regardless of what's what, because basically, I don't know what, I'm not sure what the whole up is with the bathroom there. You want to expand on that before I answer the question?
Yes, the doors, they were supposed to be about 6 to 8 weeks, and they've extended it, so it's gonna be a little while before we get the doors.
Okay, well, with that being said, I would ask this, that we be allowed to use those restrooms inside the building.
Let me check on everything else first, and we'll try to make an arrangement to where someone can, there is a restroom available.
Okay, thank you.
Let me check.
Does that answer your question? Yes, thank you.
Mr. Martin,
Mhm.
you say the level of 7, but it's gonna be a active breakdown of what's
Okay.
going on, or
All right.
actually when you want
Okay,
people that
I'm glad you said that. The reason why we're saying 11, because there's a lot of kids, believe it or not, they won't have anything to eat that day. And y'all know when it comes down to kids, I'm very passionate about that, okay? I see kids hanging around and you know, asking people, you know, for money to buy food, what have you. I mean, I'm like, man, you know, where are your parents at? Well, I don't know. But anyway, I'm starting at 11 because I want the kids to have something to eat. Okay? The actual function gonna kick off at about 3 o'clock. Bishop Proctor is driving all the way from Shreveport to be over here. And the awards that I'm giving out gonna be everything from community service, you name it. I'm gonna give out about almost 40 awards that helped out this city. All the pastors of the churches will be getting an award. It's just a lot going on, but I'm glad you brought it up, Byron. For the simple fact, everything will kick off once. I'm trying to let everybody go to church that day. We got some churches that are not later than most. So the actual program and everything will start off at about 3 o'clock, between 2:30 and 3 o'clock. So we have music out there, and then we're gonna have, you know, people gonna start eating at that time. So y'all get in touch with me, my number, if y'all wanna write it down, or call someone, area code 337-384-8779. You can call me if you need any information, other than what we're talking about here. I can give you the specifics. But I can guarantee you, each candidate, or what have you, will get 5 minutes. Okay, so that gives you a chance, you can sponge a lot in 5 minutes. You know, tell people what you planning on doing, and from there, and we'll take it from there. But you will adhere to that clock. All right, we're gonna have a bell right there. When I hit that bell, that means you shut it down. All right, any other questions for me? Anybody got any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Thank you.
Any questions from the audience?
Yes. Just one thing, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just to update council, with the new budget, the requisition has been sent to City Hall. We have awarded a contract, or will be pending the approval of veterans exteriors to pressure wash and clean the building and the sidewalk.
Any more business coming before public business? There being none, sir, we recess.
Thank you. Ms. Stringfellow, Insurance and Personnel.
Thank you, Mayor. The Insurance and Personnel Committee will convene. We have a quorum. There are no action items. Does anyone have any discussion items?
I got something I need to say.
Mr. Martin?
Yes, yes. Where's Julie? Julie's here? And Julie, I want to thank you for going way beyond, your actual duties, for helping me with my insurance, okay? Let me tell y'all something here. I don't know you are, I am you, whatever they call themselves. Let me tell you, we ain't never had the problems that we had since this insurance company. I don't know about y'all, but I take a certain medication, and one of them have to be oxycodone, okay? Which is, I mean, y'all know what it is, and it's not nothing that you play with, okay? These people, Lord Jesus, these people okayed every last one of my medications, except that. I'm like, lady, you gotta be kidding me. She said, well, you can just wait. I said, lady, what you mean weak? That's the one I need, the rest, you know? But anyway, I have to give it to the lady, the broker, I forgot her name. She worked tirelessly with me, and come to find out, the way they do things is different from the other companies. The doctor have to call for permission or certification, whatever it is, for the pharmacist.
Prior authorization.
There you go, thank you. I knew somebody knew what it was, all right. Right, so anyway, it came down to the last minute where I told her, I said, you know what? She said, well, can you tell me who you are? I said, that ain't got nothing to do with the price of salt. I said, but the problem, why are you giving me so much problem? I said, now I gotta go pay almost $300 out of pocket for this. You understand what I'm saying? But the rest of the bills, they never $10 a piece. I said, something wrong with that man. She said, well, look, after I told her, I said, well, everybody calls me Steph. Oh, yeah, well, I know you. I said, oh, Lord, here we go. But anyway, this lady, she took care of the business, Julie, whoever she was. She called me, she kept me. She said, you still in pain? I said, damn right, I'm in pain. What you got, you know? But,
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Steph, for not calling me with that.
I'll call you, I'll call you husband. Hey, man, you got something to do with me?
Anything to do with picking.
Yeah, but I was, look, don't worry, your name was on the list. You not. But anyway, I just want to say, yes, I mean, it's a good company, but they just have different things. The other company was automatic. You know, when they done one, they certified everything.
It's hard to adjust to those changes when you make those, yes.
Right, but the good part about it, I mean, as far as procedures done, they'll be okay, everything. Great.
Does anyone else have anything for insurance personnel? And we will recess.
Thank you. Next, Community and Economic Development, Mr. Reddy.
Thank you. Community and Economic Development Committee, all members are present. I'll start off with reports. We'll start with Garden Club. They will have their first meeting of the new fiscal year. That'll be next Tuesday. Under Chamber of Commerce, September 8th, they have the quarterly luncheon. September 22nd is the business under the Oaks at the courthouse grounds from 5 to 7. And we had Gumbo Cook-Off on October 29th, 2022. Under Main Street Tourism, the city's going to be doing Nightmare on Mill Street, which will be Monday, October 31st, 5 to 7 at Rice Festival Building. There'll be a costume contest, music, prizes, games, and activities. So for Main Street, she sent me a couple of things. First National Bank of Crowley and Crowley Main Street was selected to receive the 2022 Partnership Grant Program Award from the Federal Home Loan Bank of Dallas. The bank will match the First National Bank of Crowley's eligible cash contribution of $4,000 to Crowley Main Street on a 3-to-1 basis, resulting in a total contribution of $16,000. City of Crowley was awarded the CLG grant that, in partnership with Crowley Main Street, will complete phase 2, the final phase of the resurveying of Crowley's historic district by adding it to the National Register. Kids Day on Main Street will be held on Main Street in Crowley on September 17th. That's not this Saturday, but next Saturday, from 9 a.m. to noon. Everyone's participation and help has been very appreciated. Callie, who is the director, and Ms. Darlene Thibodeau, who is a board member, will be attending the 2022 Destination Downtown, the South's premier downtown revitalization conference in Little Rock, Arkansas, September 13th through 16th. And the conference is designed so that the attendees learn from their colleagues as well as from experts in the field. I have no action items and no discussion items. Anything to come before? Yes, ma'am.
Will those dates and all of those activities be on the website, you know, Mayor? They will, okay.
Yes.
And just for clarification, so the McNair on Mill Street is going to replace downtown trick-or-treating crowd? I don't-
Yeah, there's no,
No which way?
No, which
Okay.
way, no, which,
yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, just to let you know, which way was done by Main Street.
Right.
The
So this will
city
be
of
done by the
Crowley,
city.
the city of Crowley
Oh, okay.
is doing the Nightmare on Elm Street at the Vice Festival, which is gonna be great for the kids. Get them off the street, you know, a lot of activities and a lot of volunteers.
It's Mill Street.
Mill Street.
I'm sorry,
Mill Street?
Nightmare on Mill Street.
Yeah, you said Elm Street.
Mill,
I got you.
no.
Yeah.
I did.
It's okay.
Like Elm and Mill sound the same. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I guess I watched too much TV. But yes, it's gonna be great for the kids, we can't wait.
Anything else coming
I
forward?
wanna let everybody know that was Valerie's idea, it's a great idea.
Yes, sir. Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Listen, I guess a lot of the new council members, this goes to all the new council members. Now, Stephen, you remember, well, I think we done it, Jim, when you was on the council as well. How many of y'all familiar with the League of Cities, National League of Cities? It's in your in the review. The problem with and I want to put it the way it was told to me by the LMA, where in the hell is the people? Okay, I'm gonna tell you why. The National League of Cities is, you know, everything from, we had talked about hotels, these people be over there. They looking for places to put hotels. That's one of the main things that we need, just to group it in the same text. The problem is, we have what we call a Louisiana delegation, okay? The LMA, the only ones that these are there is the LMA staff itself. They're looking for citizens to come to the National League of Cities because they are recognized by participants, okay? Now, those of you who's planning on retiring or not planning on running again, this will be a golden opportunity to go to this thing. And those of us that are running, you know, it'd be a golden opportunity because we may not see this chance again. But the League of Cities, listen, this one's gonna be very special. They got monies to be given out to different cities because with the president and giving up all his infrastructure money and all this other stuff, these people are ready to come. If it's shovel ready, they're ready to do it. But what they did to make sure that the LMA and also the National League of Cities combined, you know, you got the TLA, which is Texas and Mississippi. I mean, listen, Arkansas, they do the same thing. They don't show, and the money just piles up. Everybody takes the north of the United States, the west coast, but nobody takes it from the south because nobody's there. Okay? In other words, like our illustrious President Gallagher said, they owe us some money, damn it, we're going to get it. I said, well, okay, let's go get it. But what we need participation. Now, Mayor, I appreciate what we've done with the LMA, but I'm asking for myself that I'll be allowed to represent the city of Crowley. Okay, I don't know who else wants to come, but I personally would like to go to the Louisiana League, I mean, not Louisiana, but the National League of Cities. For the simple reason, I'm pretty sure I can bring back something here that this city would need. And one of the main things is, I think the Hilton Group gonna be there this year. And you know the Hilton, they got all kind of hotels. They got small hotels to the 5-star. Well, we don't need no 5-star hotel, not crap. But maybe we do, you know, people travel. But, and I'm gonna tell you the land that they will be looking at, and that's the land off I-10, not where we build that, I mean, to put the service road, believe it or not, is on the other side. Why? Because major hotels do one thing, we go right. I don't know what it is about going, they don't go left, we go right. And I asked you why you go right, he said because it's one turn, we going right. Right off the road and right into the parking lot. I said, it makes sense. The chances are if you go left, you have a chance to get run over. I say, well, whatever it is. But listen, I just want to ask why I think that it meets in November. If I'm not mistaken, I'll look through the handbook, but at our next meeting, Mayor, if it's possible, like I said, I would really like to go represent. And whoever else, I mean, it's still an opportunity to meet people from all over the state. You ask them, they have the same problems that we have. And we have what we call round, the last time I was there, it was in Austin, Texas. We have round the house discussion, and everybody, just come together and we make it good, you know? I mean, it just feels good to know that, well, not feel good, but we don't have the problems over here that they have, because a lot of their problems multiply by 10. But we have the same problem. Okay? But I just want to bring that up. So Mayor, if possible, I would like to represent, and whoever else wants to come. You need to go yourself, man. I don't think you ever been to the League City. They want mayors to go. Okay, well, you know what I'm talking about. It's an opportunity to meet people you never met before. And people like you told me, did you pass through Louisiana? I don't think. I said, you took I-10 heading from east to west, you passed, and Highway 90, you passed through Crowley. You might have not seen nothing, but you passed through Crowley. But anyway, I just want to respond on that. But the LMA is asking everybody to please, so we can have a delegation up there.
What's the location?
This year, I think, it might be Kansas City. I'm not sure. But it's, I think it's Kansas City.
Mayor?
Yes, it is Kansas City. I just told Kansas City. And all the ones that's running for office, come see what all the fuss is about. You know? Make friends, bring them back to Louisiana. Thank you.
In economic development, I just want to let you know that I spoke with some people with Hampton Inn and Holiday Inn yesterday, and we were trying to get some of those hotels, just to let everybody know, but they can't because of territorial.
Exactly.
Reasons for that. That's why they don't do that.
Right.
So now we're venturing on to some other big chains and some other possible. Of course, like I said before, there are some other developers that I have been working with, and just to let everybody know that I have signed what's called, in case people don't know, it's called a confidentiality agreement. That means that once I sign it, I can only tell you that I'm in discussion with some developers. That's all I can tell you. And I apologize for that, but that's the way it is. That's the rule of the world, and you have to abide by it. So, anyway, thank you.
Anything else to come before community economic
Fine.
development? All right, I will recess.
Thank you. Next, Revenue and Finance, Mr. Cabell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Revenue and Finance Committee will convene. All are present. There's no action items, no discussion items, the committee recess.
But I'm glad everybody appreciates that.
Typically, they weren't able to get going finally, you know, they're very appreciative.
Man, I'm getting everybody calling me about the tow boys. I said, yeah, I was afraid to say it now. Tell me, I said, I need some more New Orleans. I need to go get some more. I said, I'll get some more. Sir.